Yo guys, it's me Luigi. So Mario was supposed to be in this video, me and Mario were supposed to react to this video, but we couldn't do that since uh his video got corrupted and stuff, and it was a lot of random stuff. So if I am talking about Mario in this video, he's not in this video. Supposed to be, he was maybe in the next video, but he was supposed to be. Yo, hello everyone, it's me Luigi on Mark 2, the second channel. Today I'll be reacting to 7 True Horror Stories by Wancy Entertainment. That's how you say it. So I'll be reacting to this with Mario. Yeah, so hold on. I'll just be reacting to this. Oh yeah, shout out to Mario for the idea for this video. Shout out to him. He does not have his own channel, but he might make one soon. So today we'll be reacting to Wancy Entertainment. Scary true stories. Maybe true.
Bailey.
Okay.
This story happened when I was in the
Bailey.
7th grade. For reference, I was a very petite girl with long, dirty blonde hair, braces, and glasses. Anyway, it all started in the middle school of my 7th grade year.
Middle school.
In my science class, my friends and I were given assigned seats for a project that would be going on for about half a semester. I was paired at a table with 2 friends and a random boy. Let's call my friends Hannah and Allie. The boy, let's call him Liam, gave me bad vibes right off the bat. He had stringy, greasy hair.
The facial expression, pretty funny.
And always
not gonna lie, it's pretty funny.
Hostile glances. We all started talking, and I found
he does not look like that in real life. I promise you.
He would insult anything and everything about all 3 of us. As middle school girls, we would shoot right back at him. Although he never seemed offended at all, just amused. Time passed.
Dang.
Liam got stranger and stranger. He would constantly hit me and my
friends
and poke us with pencils so violently, I would consider it stabbing.
Wait,
For some reason,
I have a
never
question.
thought of it as weird,
How sharp are the
was
pencils?
very aggressive, including us because we would constantly hit each other playfully. But he
Okay.
always seemed to target me the most. I sat next to him in my social studies class too, and he would always call us best friends with a big grin on his face. It always rubbed me the wrong way. Hannah and Allie would always laugh about his craziness.
We're going for a marker.
It went downhill even more when he wrote "Kill Bailey" in school in a black notebook. Both Hannah and Allie saw it, and it became
Death
a big
Note.
joke that he
It's a
put
Death
me on a
Note.
one-person hit list. Even though it scared the crap out of me,
I would
like
be scared too.
Hold on. So nonchalant about it. What scared me even more was that I'm almost positive I saw a section right next to my name titled Plan. After that, he would always tell me how he was going to find my address and show up at my house in the middle of the night.
Oh no.
He would tell me about the guns he has at his house, and as usual, my friends just laughed it off.
That's not funny. That is not funny.
I guess I didn't want to get mocked by everyone if it was all just a harmless joke. But one day, something happened that I will never forget. We were working on the project I mentioned previously, which was a paper roller coaster.
Paper?
And Liam asked
What?
if he could go get a drink of water. After he left,
first question, how's it gonna work?
I didn't want to at first because the water fountain was in between the boys' and girls' bathrooms.
That makes sense,
which
yeah.
meant Liam would be right there. But I couldn't hold it in any longer.
What does he have in his
As
pocket?
I walked down the hallway, I saw Liam standing at the water fountain, talking with another boy. He watched me rush down the hallway, never breaking eye contact. When I was in the bathroom, I had a sinking feeling the whole time I was there, like something in the back of my mind telling me to hurry up. So I complied with my instincts. When I threw open the restroom door, Liam was still there with the boy. I practically ran down the hallway to my class. I could feel his eyes on me as I waited for the classroom door to open. About a minute later, he walked into class and came straight to our table and leaned down next to me. And what he said will always chill me to the bone. "You're lucky you left when you did." I just froze. I was in the bathroom alone, and Liam and that boy were the only 2 in the hallway. Was Liam planning on doing something when I was alone?
What does he have in his
pocket?
pocket?
Messed it up? I won't ever know, because nothing like that happened again. He was still physically violent towards me, and when I mentioned the situation to my friends, they didn't take it seriously and joked about it, so I never brought it up again. The next year in 8th grade, Liam disappeared from school and never came back.
Pencils are
It was like he
insane.
never existed. None of his friends ever mentioned him or where he went. The only time
Did she say she was in the 8th grade in middle school?
Like, that
so
loud thunk outside must be Liam coming back. Or
probably
I bet
moved
that yell in
away.
the hallway was Liam. He became an inside joke for anything creepy or bizarre that happened. Honestly, I don't know if I was just paranoid or he was just a stupid boy trying to mess with me, but I genuinely think that he wanted me dead. So, let's hope I never meet Liam again.
Oh, oh no. Oh no. Why does he look like that? The river. So I'm gonna
I
take a
still don't know what
guess.
that thing was. All I know is that it was a very
What
horrifying
thing?
and terrible creature.
What
I
thing?
sometimes feel like it's still living there
He's
where
not
I saw it,
explaining, but
or
still.
that it's watching me, and my whole body trembles just thinking
Yeah, I'm gonna
about
take
it.
a guess
The
that
incident happened
it's
about
gonna be
10 years ago now.
something,
At that time, I really liked riding
something
my
in the
bike,
river.
so I would always ride my bike to the river in
So
the neighborhood. But that day, the river was
let's see if
moving
I'm right.
very violently. Something was strange. The wind wasn't even blowing like usual. I stopped my bike, stood still, and looked out at the river. The river continued to sway violently, as
Oh,
if
there's
there was
sun in the
something very
water.
large
There's
swimming
sun
in
in
the
there.
water. I slowly approached,
Why
squinting
would
and
you go to
staring at
it?
the river. At that moment, I saw something I would never be able to forget. I could see something round in the water, slowly rising to the surface. At first, I thought it was a human head. Who is swimming in this dirty river? I thought to myself. But when I looked closely,
What?
it
Who is it?
wasn't
Who
a
is it?
human head. It was the head of a creature with a frightening appearance, with bug-like
That's
eyes,
funny.
an
That's more funny
unrecognizable
than
nose,
scary.
and a large and grotesque mouth filled with numerous teeth. And as soon as I saw its face, it went back into the water in an instant. I thought it was hiding from me. I froze in place. I couldn't even process what I had just seen. I walked closer to the river, right up to the edge of the water. Now the surface of the river was calm again. I stood there blankly,
So he
just
was there
staring
for
at the
like
water.
2
When I
minutes.
came to my senses, about 30 minutes had passed. From my perspective, the time had passed very quickly, as if I had fainted or gone to sleep. I came to my senses and turned around to go back home, but then
I would do
I could
too.
hear the sound of water flowing.
Who won it?
I
Who
intuitively
won it?
realized that the sound was coming from something coming up out of the water. My heart felt like it was going to explode. I looked back and saw it.
But
It still gives me nightmares to this day. It was different than before.
what?
The upper half of his
There's
body
two
was
of them?
above the
More
water this
than
time,
one?
and it was approaching me. It was almost halfway to where I was standing on the ground.
Then run.
It was crawling
Then
towards
run.
me quickly. It was humanoid in shape, but its body looked more like slippery fish skin than a human skin.
That's
It
very
opened
funny.
its huge mouth wide, and
That would-
inside it was what appeared to me to be several small fish carcasses. And even though it was
Oh.
quite a distance away, a
That would be
terrible
scary in
stench
real
filled
life,
the
but
air.
very
I
funny.
couldn't tell if it was smiling or frowning because it wasn't human. Its fingers were very long and hook-like. As it approached me, it swung its hands at me as if it were trying to snatch me away. Overcome with fear, I screamed and started running away as
Who won
fast
it?
as I could.
Who won
I
it?
was running and tripped over a rock, and when I looked back, it had disappeared. I
Oh,
assumed by
he's
sliding
lucky.
back into the water. The surface of the water became calm again, and I
Very
never
lucky.
saw it again. I convinced myself that I was either dreaming or seeing things, but no matter how much I
Yeah,
tried
that
to
makes
forget,
sense.
I couldn't get what I saw out of my mind. After that incident,
There's someone
I
gonna be
have
in
never
water when
gone
he's
near
driving
that
away.
river again. The horrible, disgusting smell it let out when it came towards me, and the creepy movements it made will never leave my mind. Just seeing that creature was enough to make my insides twist and churn. That experience traumatized me so much that now I can't even go near or get into swimming pools, or even the bathtub. Even when I
What?
sleep, I get startled and scream whenever I hear the outside of my house. And when I wake up at night, all I can think of is that creature crawling from the river to drag me back there with it.
True closet
My
horror.
name is Jaslyn, and this happened when I was about 9 or 10, so
Okay.
this was years ago, as now I'm in my last year of middle school.
Not that
It
long
was a
ago if you're
normal
in.
day in my house. It was me, my mom, my dad, and my brothers. I was helping my mom clean the house because she asked me to, and while cleaning, my mom told me to put my folded clothes that were on the couch into my drawer, which was in my family's closet. I
Oh,
took my clothes and started walking to the room to get to the closet. But while I was walking
closet?
to the closet, I was
There's
stopped in my
someone gonna be in
tracks.
there.
What I saw
Someone's gonna
didn't
be in
exactly
there.
creep me out at the time. It just kind of shocked me. What I saw was a dark grayish figure standing in the closet,
Someone's in
reaching
there.
for a skirt that was
Ooh.
high up. It was like you could see through
Ooh,
it,
no.
but at the same time it looked
It's gonna
dark
attack
and
him.
human-like. It looked back at me as I looked behind me. It disappeared into thin air and dropped the skirt it was trying to get from the high shelf. I picked up the skirt and held it up and tried talking to the figure I saw, saying things like, "Come back and take the skirt." And I promised not to tell anyone I saw you.
So
But it didn't
something's
appear
there
again.
since it would
And then my
fall
mom called for
in.
me. I ran back into the kitchen and my mom said, "Who are you talking to?" I
She
responded
wasn't
saying,
near.
"The ghost." My mom looked like
Okay,
she
so
didn't believe
it's
me
definitely
until I
real
told her
since
the whole story,
it fell,
and she
like
looked
the
uneasy for a
it
second.
fell.
Fast forward to 6th grade when I brought up the ghost to my mom again. This time, she said, "Don't talk about ghosts. I'm really scared of them." She then told me she was
I would
scared
be
of
too.
ghosts because where she is from, people like to do black magic on other people, and that you can even feel the spirits that died on the island. I asked her, "What if it's Grandma?" But she then
Grandma?
said, "It can't be Grandma. I told
It
Grandma
cannot.
if she passed to never come to me because she knows I'm scared of ghosts." But if it wasn't my grandma,
Then
then
who?
who was the ghost I saw?
True old man.
Hi, my name is Sabrina,
True old
and this
man.
story occurred when I was only 9 years old. A few years ago, my family and I got a new house from a very strange person. Let's call
Bob.
him Bob to protect his identity.
Bob.
He was a very racist old white man, like 87 or so years old. But my mom is white and blonde, so he was fine selling the house to her. His unusual behavior began once he saw the rest of my family. My sisters, my stepdad, and I are all Mexican. And he clearly didn't like that, so he tried to kick us out, but ended up failing. But his creepy behavior
Dang.
didn't stop there. Around 2 months later, something disturbing happened. Back
I
then, I was
despise
sleeping in
people
my
like
eldest
that.
sister's room, and one day, my sister and I were changing clothing, and our window was open. We lived pretty far away from the next
Why?
house, so we figured
be
it was fine to
cold.
leave it open. But what we didn't think about is that Bob's house was right across the street. We thought he was at home and wouldn't be walking around outside our house. But when we were done
What?
changing, we went to close the window and we saw Bob outside
Okay,
with a
he's
big
weird.
camera. He was facing our window, and we
Daddy,
got really creeped out. But it
Daddy.
turns out he did that almost every time we changed. I almost remember one night when I woke up at exactly 3:33 and looked out of our window, and I saw Bob watching
Daddy
us
for
sleep.
real.
A few months after that night, I was in the car with my mom, and she said, "I don't know how you feel about him, but Bob died." And I
Whew.
was shocked,
Whew.
very shocked.
Whew.
She then said, "He had a heart attack
Thank
and was found
you.
this morning by his worker, Doug."
Thank you.
I was super relieved that he
Rest in
wouldn't bother
peace
us
to the
anymore.
family.
But the story doesn't end there.
I feel sorry for
A
the
week
family,
after
but
he
still.
died, I started to feel his presence around my house, and unexplainable stuff has happened ever since. First, our fridge stopped working, even though we had just recently bought it. And then, we went on
Rats
vacation
and
for a week.
cockroaches?
But when we came back, our house was completely trashed. Like, you couldn't even see the floor, and there were rats and roaches everywhere.
How do you know
We
Bob
lived
did
in the
that?
desert part of Southern California, so there were desert rats, but this was on a different level. Anyway, after that, we moved away. I'm now 14, but I can still feel his presence nearly everywhere I go.
Full loading phone. Full loading phone isn't. True
My name is
teacher.
Michaela. I'm a straight-A student in my freshman year of high school who used to struggle in math in the past. Because of that, my mom hired a math teacher to help us. His name was Mr. Emmanuel. He was
Mr.
really chill as a
Emmanuel.
math teacher and was very helpful when it came to math homework. Because of his help, I improved in math and didn't have any problems. But because my younger brother and I really liked
That's
him,
great.
my mom decided to continue to hire
That's
him as a
great.
teacher. Every Friday and Saturday, he always comes to teach us. My brother starts first on Fridays,
His jawline's
and I start first on Saturdays.
law.
But sometimes
His
he will come
jawline's
very
crazy.
late, like around 6 p.m. I can tell he is always tired, but he still manages to be a really nice teacher. But that was until this
looks
one
nice,
day that I will never
guess.
forget. It was a Friday, and we had just come back from school. My brother was starting first, so he got his math books out and got himself prepared for when Mr. Emmanuel gets there. After taking a shower and changing into my comfy clothes, I decided to do my homework from school at around 8:30 p.m.
Clothes? You mean
The math teacher
PJs?
didn't come yet.
You mean
Strange, I thought.
PJs?
I figured that he was in traffic and we would have to do a late night lesson again. But even after 7 p.m., he still did not arrive. My brother was going to look from the balcony, since it was facing the street. Our security lights were on, so my brother could see clearly. But what my brother saw apparently shocked him.
What
I
do
was
you see?
confused about why my brother looked so pale, until I walked over and he pointed at the house gate. My heart froze. It was my math teacher. He was covered in blood and there were
Oh,
bruises
rip.
all over his body.
Rest
His
in
neck was
peace.
twisted and blood was coming from his eyes. His
What
whole
happened to
body
him?
looked burnt and he was staring right at us. At first, we didn't know what to do
What?
until he just started
He's
waving
alive?
at us with a large smile. His smile reached from ear to ear. I screamed so loudly that my whole neighborhood heard it. Hearing me, my mom
Rip,
rushed to the
rest
balcony,
in
wondering
peace.
what was going on. I pointed to where my math teacher was, but when I did, he disappeared. My mom just thought we were imagining things and told both of us to go
Oh, rest
inside.
in
We didn't have
peace.
math lessons that day, but the very next day, my mom got a call from the administrator for my math teacher, who used to work for my mom. We learned that he had died in a brutal car accident. Even weeks later, I still saw him at school anytime I was in math class.
Dude.
I will never forget Mr. Emmanuel.
Dude, that's insane.
Hello, this is an event that
That
happened to me
is
about 2 years ago
that
while at
is
home.
insane.
I was in my
Crazy
room watching
story.
slime videos because they were on trend back
Witness.
then. But anyway, my walls were very thin because I lived in an old house. It was a 2-story brick house and my room was upstairs. I was just in my room watching YouTube videos when I heard a kid screaming violently.
I'm gonna guess like
I thought nothing of it at first, even though it was 9
2017?
p.m. when usually no kid
Am I
would be
right on
playing.
that?
A few moments later, the scream seemed to become muffled like someone was covering the kid's mouth. I became curious, so I went downstairs and opened the door, and what I saw scars me to this day. I saw a man wearing a ski mask and black clothes throw a child into his car. Before I could process what happened,
taking the
the man
child.
got in the car and drove away. I called the police, but I don't know what happened after that. I haven't been able to tell anyone to this day, and I hope that boy is alive and okay somewhere.
Dude. No, not the child.
My name is Noor, and this
she
incident
save
happened
him?
to me when I was around
No,
10
she
years
did
old.
not.
My parents used to love going
No,
to
she
fancy
did
gatherings
not.
and buffets,
Hotel.
especially with their friends, which we'll call John and Emma for the sake of the story. They had 2 kids named Sam and Nina. They were around my age, and we used to play together all the time when I went to those gatherings. Our favorite game was hide and seek, especially the type where the seeker would count in an elevator or in the staircase to give the game a spooky vibe. I was often allotted the role of seeker, which was my least favorite part to play. Anyways, that evening, I was allotted as the seeker as usual. And this time, I decided to count in an elevator. It was a hotel elevator, and despite the hotel being so fancy and beautiful, for some reason, they didn't have a 16th floor in the building. I noticed that as soon as I entered the elevator. I ignored that fact, being the dumb kid I was, and started counting with my face hidden in my hands and with the elevator's door shut. As soon as I finished counting to 100, I opened the elevator door, and to my shock, I was on a different floor, and it was a rather strange one. The elevator opened onto a hallway. It was dimly lit, long, and narrow hall. The atmosphere was eerie and cold. It was summertime, but I was literally shivering. I looked to the LED display of the floor number, and to my disbelief, it was the 16th floor. I looked down at the buttons to look for the button labeled 16, but it was not there. I immediately started questioning what I was seeing. How can I be on a floor that doesn't even exist in the hotel? I am from a very superstitious household, so I was susceptible to believing in the existence of ghosts and demons. Just when things couldn't get any worse, those dim lights started flickering, and a very melancholic lullaby began to echo from the end of the hallway. While shaking, I turned my teary gaze towards the end of the hallway, and what I saw still haunts me to this very day. I saw something dragging itself along the floor in the hallway. As it got closer, I realized it had no feet or hands, and it was actually crawling on its knees. As it got closer to the elevator, it became clear to me that it was the one that was singing the lullaby, its face hollow and eyes bulging out from their sockets. It crawled slowly while maintaining an intense and petrifying stare towards me. It was smiling wider and wider, as if it was enjoying seeing me trembling in fear. I realized at that moment that I was about to die. I fell to the hard floor of the elevator and closed my eyes tightly. With my shaking hands, I started pleading to God to save me. I started reciting all of the verses of my holy book that my mom used to recite to me before going to bed. Luckily, God heard my cries, and the door of the elevator slammed shut. Everything went dark after that. A week later, I found myself in a hospital bed with my parents sitting beside me. As soon as they saw me conscious, they rushed towards me and hugged me tightly. I had been found lying on the floor in the elevator. My body was pale and I was foaming at the mouth. I was rushed to the hospital. For a whole week, I was unconscious and would have seizures from time to time. Fortunately, I recovered physically from that nightmare, but I am so horrified to use an elevator. Just recently, I found out about that hotel and the real reason behind the 16th floor being missing. They demolished that floor before turning that building into a hotel, as on that floor, 6 young girls had been mutilated and murdered. The killer was found and hanged 8 years after the murders. After researching it further, I found out that he used to sing a lullaby while torturing his victims, the same lullaby I heard that evening. One fact that particularly caught my attention was that the victims were the age of 10 and looked similar to me. I was devastated after knowing that. Maybe I saw that hideous creature due to my similar appearance to those girls. What I believe is that it was the monster created by the agony and the pain of those poor victims. I hope no one goes through that kind of gruesome pain ever again, and I pray those restless souls are now resting in peace. But to this day, I still wonder what would have happened to me if the creature had reached me. Would it be me haunting that floor just like those girls?
Yeah. Well, everyone, that was the end of the video with me and Mario reacting to the video. So, this is the end, and goodbye.